Okay, so Mark here from Rock and Load this evening with two gentlemen who really don't need any introduction, but we'll do it anyway. Tonight, Mr. Nick Oliveri, Ryan Güt from STÖNER. The guys are in Belfast, kicking off the UK and Ireland UK tour. So, welcome, guys. How you doing?
Good. Show number 4.
Show number 4 already.
Yeah.
And how have the first 3 gone?
Great.
What's the response after being off the road for so long?
It's good. You know, I think people are ready to go out and see bands, and the people that were at the shows were totally into it.
Yeah.
I think some people are still trying to hide out a little bit, afraid to go out. But I think it's over. I think people are going to start coming out. I'm ready to say it's over.
Yeah, it's
it's over. It's over for me.
It's a good place to start. UK and Ireland are a little bit further than some of the other countries.
Absolutely.
You know? So, you guys are California based, is that right?
Yeah.
So, what was California like during that last 2 years?
Well, for me, it was. I had a rough time with it. I'm used to touring around and moving about, so I had a rough time at the start of it. It took me a while to accept it, so I fought it for a while.
Yeah.
Isolation.
I had some rough times, and I made the mistake of speaking out about it on Facebook and stuff like that. So people got mad at me for a minute, and then I just laid off. Like, okay, well, I feel a certain way about it, and doesn't mean that everybody else feels that way. And so I needed to lay off and just be bummed out.
Yeah, I'm sure, like everybody else, you know, nobody expected the longevity of it. You know, so when initially we were told maybe it was short lockdown, a couple of weeks, and then people were thinking there was light at the end of the tunnel, and then it was just dragged out and dragged out. So for you guys, obviously, like how many days a year would you normally be touring?
Well, I'm on tour at STÖNER, and the day we stop, I have one day off to get from Berlin to Italy to do a Monogenic hair tour. I'm here till July 3rd.
Yeah.
And that's how I used to tour.
Yeah.
I wasn't doing bands, I was doing solo stuff.
Yeah.
Because if I worked at a bar or any other job, I'd work 6 days a week. So in order to make this a job for myself, I have to do as much as possible.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I have to get a job on the off times between tours.
Nobody wants you serving beers.
I'm living the dream.
But it is a truth of living in a band in the modern day age, isn't it? Really, with the music industry being such a pain in the balls. Like, you know, you have to graft and you have to tour, especially to make money. Yeah.
Absolutely, and I love to travel, so it works out.
Yeah.
Best job in the world.
Best job.
And you've been through Ireland many a time. Yeah.
I love it here.
Yeah.
Love it.
My first time.
Yeah.
Guinness, and Jameson, and Bushmills, and good-looking girls, and cool people,
not enough of those.
I can lose. Yeah. Well, you know.
So tell me a little bit about the STÖNER project. Was it something that was born out of the pandemic, or was it something that was planned?
Born out of the pandemic. Brandt called me, then we called Nick, and just like that, we were jamming.
Yeah.
We had 4 days to get a record ready and a performance ready for a live in Mojave Desert stream, and 4 days literally. And in that 4 days, we got all the songs together, ran a bunch of tunes. Had a tune, we put a bunch of stuff together, we jammed, and we got it together, and we did. And the day before we went to do the live stream, we recorded the stuff in the studio, so we got a studio record out of it too. So in those 4 days, we really got it together, and it was just came together naturally. He plays with Brandt's solo band as well, and Brandt was the first drummer I ever played with or had a musical conversation with in a room, different instruments, and so it's comfortable for me to play with Brandt, so it just came together real easy.
I suppose, again, no shortage of material, because you guys probably had your heads down working on stuff throughout the pandemic, you know, just naturally.
We just did a new record and a new EP. We recorded it at the same time, so the record, we have it here with us, but it comes out on May 7th, I want to say. Yeah. And we did an EP as well to accompany it, which will come out in a few months. I don't know exactly.
What's the difference between the two? Is there
there's a cover on the EP. We do a cover. Okay. Don't want to give it away, but we do a cover, and a couple of we do a jam. We got like an extended jam with Mario Lolly, our good brother Mario's out. So
how come Mario's been dragged into it? What's Mario's background as tour manager and step-in guitarist?
Well, he's our old friend from when we were kids, and he used to do the generator parties and all, as you know. And he also we knew he tour managed the band Off. It was Keith Morris, and so he has some tour manager background. He owned a club and did shows for years. So having a friend that we know we could trust come out with us, basically at the end of the day, somebody we can trust, and you know, we can take care of ourselves pretty good, but he takes care of us as well, so it makes it easy.
Yeah, for sure. Because it's such a weird life, isn't it? Being a musician on the road, a touring musician.
Good to have friends around, you know.
Good to have friends around,
and somebody can keep the balance.
yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And you sort of mentioned on the first album was a live album. It's an unusual way to announce yourselves to the world. You know, with obviously there was a live stream happening, but you guys decided to release that as your debut. So how was that for you? Unusual approach?
Well, it was kind of a good thing in a way, because we're desert kids, and that's all we would have done when we were kids. We would just went out and played live, and somebody just happened to capture it, recording it.
Yeah.
And it was a good idea. And it turned out cool, and I'm happy we did it. I think it is an interesting way to start, though, and it's different, which makes it cool too.
Yeah. And I suppose, do you guys record live when you play anyway in the studio? Do you like to do it that way? Or
Yeah.
It feels more natural to you.
Well, these guys, they did everything live. I did some stuff live, but we were in different rooms.
Yeah.
And I did my bass. There's some of the stuff after.
On the new one.
Yeah, on the new one.
Yeah.
With the other one we did live, we had to put my bass outside, my bass amp outside.
Yeah.
Pointed it at the desert.
Isolated.
The neighbors loved it, man. They got
Just pointed it right out towards because there's a Brandt's old studio had a bathroom for the guitar separation. We played, of course, with Güt with the drum room. There's a small desert studio, you know. So we put the bass amp outside, headphone mix, and we just rocked out.
Yeah.
It was cool.
So much fun.
Yeah. And what's the songwriting process like within the new band then? So how does it happen? Is it a?
It's always different, you know. Sometimes somebody have a song all together, and sometimes I sent in a bunch of riffs and stuff, and these guys put together some arrangements and stuff, and it was easy because it all worked real easy, and I'm easy going as far as like, there's some riffs.
Some of them fell right, like stand down, fell like Brandt started doing a wah pad, and all of a sudden there's a riff, and the next thing we know, we're jamming this thing, like, oh, this can go here, and then pretty soon we got
the middle piece was kind of cool jam in there, and we knew when we got it. That was the only one I think we did a couple times. We did most of the stuff like we knew we had it on a take. Like, that's good. It works good.
Yeah.
That was the one where like jam could be better, and we did it over. And we knew we had it when we had it. We're like, that was the one.
You feel it's more of an ethereal process then, like a real natural process, rather than sort of trying to be too anal about the recording.
So Brandt's always been kind of like, this is good.
Yep. One take, two takes maybe.
Just
I'm into that too, so I'm no good in that too, so it's real easy, you know. To like, we can beat it in the ground if we want. We'll always go for the first take or second take anyway.
Yeah.
So
you probably find that those two takes are probably the best anyway. Fourth, fifth, you start slightly laboured and you're starting to overanalyze. And yeah. And what about your drum approach then with the songs? How do you sort of tackle? Once you hear a riff coming out from both the guys or whatever.
Yeah, it kind of feels natural. Like there's kind of, I can watch body language. I can kind of feel where it's looking, and then we just jam it out, and it's like there's always smiles, and like we know like we got something kind of right away. So it's a really natural thing. Like I don't have to think about it, because you know rock and roll is like there's either a heavy slow backbeat or it's up tempo. So it's one of the two. Yeah. And once we find it, it's just right there. So
do you find yourself improvising at all when you're playing live? Do you just go off in a?
Maybe not improv, but I definitely, there's some things I'm not doing the same every night. I'm not sure about these guys, but well, it's always a little different. Like maybe the solo will be a little longer, so we'll stretch it out. Like we kind of Brandt leads the jams, you know, so we got one. It can get. You
just look for a nod to come back in.
Yeah, we feel it out.
Yeah. And how does the new record totally comes out May 2nd again? It's Heavy Psych Sounds, isn't that right?
Mm-hmm.
How does that sort of show the progression of the band?
I think there's more double singing, maybe.
A lot more of that, yeah.
I sing one vocal. I sing backgrounds, but I sing one lead vocal on the first EP record, and now it's kind of like half and half, maybe.
A lot of call and response, or like they're really the vocals are Nick and Brant.
We go back and forth.
Yeah, I could hear it bouncing back.
That would be a progression we've done, and it's good playing with guys that you know they're gonna do something good. And I don't like to ever try to tell somebody what to play ever, and so everybody plays something good, and you know they're gonna play something good, and that's always a good thing about a band, and I think that's important, you know.
Yeah. And
to let everybody play what they want to play, and that makes a band, you know.
Express themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And with the sort of different projects that you do juggle, is it hard to come in and out of different bands, different projects? Does it take you a little bit of time to?
For me, it's okay because I don't have kids. If I had kids, I'd have to go home more, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, luckily for me, I have a housemate at home. She lets me do what I want. I could call her girlfriend if you want to.
Glad to see the back of this. Send them off again for another couple of months.
So it's one of those things, you know. I do what I want, and I play music, and it's my job in a sense, you know. I mean, it is my job. It's my job.
Yeah.
And wish I made more money at it.
Yeah, I know. Don't we all these days?
I need a raise, boss. I need a raise.
Where do you see the music industry going? Like, you've been doing it for decades now. So
well, I come from the era of like record labels and stuff, and had the major deal and all that stuff. And the only thing I had a good lawyer, so it was a good thing. I still get paid for that sometimes.
Yeah.
Magic check will come in sometimes, like, fuck yeah. Thank you, Dave Grohl. I was thanking Dave Grohl whenever a check comes in. I know he's the reason why. And so you know, I come from that era, so to see it all crumble in the record stores, all go nothing in the States. There's no record stores anymore. It was hard to see and hard to adjust, and it's still hard sometimes. I still have a hard time with it. But, you know, 15, 20 years later, I'm going like, well, it is what it is.
Yeah.
You got to just roll with the punches. But it's been hard at times. Sometimes, like,
it seems like live streaming is now kind of becoming the sort of like you can see a lot of things live streaming, especially people being afraid to kind of
technology's
go
changed
outside.
so much. It's changed the industry so much as well.
Don't be afraid to go outside. Don't be afraid to go outside. Please, come see us play.
Well, as you'll see with the shows, you know, in the UK and hopefully Europe. I'm not sure what Europe's like, but you know, the UK sort of opened up summer of last year, so we've had pretty much 9 months to a year now of normality. You know, so we're in a good place compared to some other ones. You know, so you'll get a different response from the crowd. You know.
You guys get the closed border too, right? You know, so you don't have the EU border, so it probably didn't spread as much. You know, maybe hopefully.
Well, that's it. You know, we'll just all.
There were some tours that were called the super spreader tours.
Were there?
Nando was on tour at the beginning of the pandemic, and we did all these shows like through Italy, through everywhere, and we seemed to have. Okay, maybe some of the crowds were bigger, some were smaller as it got closer, and we had 2 shows canceled at the end. I was like, oh no, I just paid my band all the money. I was hoping those last 2 shows to be like, I'll make some money, I'll go home with money. But it was okay, and I didn't really feel it till I sent my guys home. They got home a day before me. My flight got canceled out of Paris. I got the last day in England, I got out.
Did you? Yeah.
Our president freak is at home telling us like, last day, oh shit, I got out here. We finally got out, and you know, I don't know where we're going with this. What was the question again?
Well, we were just talking about the impact of the pandemic. The music scene is back here, thankfully in the UK. But
you know, it was hard for me with getting out. I finally got out, but I saw there was a super spreader tour. That's where I was going. It was I want to say it was Testament and Exodus maybe, or Death Angel and Exodus, and they were playing across the street from us in some places in England. And then I get home and it turned out like the guy from Death Angel got it, and he was almost dead, and went to the hospital and all this stuff. And I'm going like, holy shit, we didn't get anybody. Our thing was fine. Those people at our shows, it was good.
I know.
So
it was.
I guess some shows were targeted. I guess no.
messed up time to say the least. Like
they got Nando wasn't targeted. We're not a big enough band, you know.
they're not worth taking out.
Yeah, those guys don't bring enough people there. Don't worry about it.
And so obviously you guys are back on the road now. So we were talking about just briefly. The response is good so far. Playing live again. What about the genre? Obviously the stoner genre and the desert rock genre that you have. Do you find a better response in certain places? For example, in Europe.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. I think UK, Ireland, it's been good for us. And we're a new band, so it's building.
Yeah.
But we see the potential in our music and in the crowd and the people that come, whether it's a few people or a mass amount of people, they all seem to be really into it, and that's all that matters to us.
Yeah. We did a supporting run with Clutch last year, and you know, they sold out every show pretty much, and so we were fortunate to get in front of their crowd, and they're very good shows, responsive, and you know, as a support band, sometimes it can be a little, you know. So we got a really good response from
But
that.
as a new band, we haven't done Europe yet. So.
Yeah.
But Europe's always been good for our other bands.
Yeah.
Been our bread and butter, so to speak.
Yeah, for sure. There does seem to be that sort of stoner desert rock vibe within the European music scene. You know, I love the Greek scene especially, and Spain and France and stuff like that.
Absolutely. Absolutely, yeah. They seem to get it.
With long stem broccoli and spiced grape.
And out of curiosity, is the vision for the band at this stage a long road? Are you looking down the line to say that this is a longer sort of project, or you think to yourself,
oh yeah,
this is it, once 2022
no, it's not a project. We're doing it as a band. We're already talking about maybe doing another record soon, even though we haven't had the EP out yet. You know, so
it's free flowing at the moment.
Yeah, if we got music in us, we figure get while the iron's hot and get it out. If you got a backlog of music ready to come out, you can stay out on tour.
Yeah.
Touring's where we're gonna be able to stay alive, you know, because you sell records, but you sell what you can.
Yeah. And are you finding any issues as far as touring? Like, are there problems out there trying to organise tours at the moment? There's so many bands trying to tour, but is there any regions at the moment that still?
Well, I know. I told my booking agent, I said, you know, as soon as you can get me in there, I need to work. I was at home for a year and a half, 2 years, going like, I'm running out of money. I'm like, I need help. So I got to get back to work, which is good. And but yeah, I think I haven't seen any problems going anywhere yet. You know, I know there's a Ukraine thing, but we're not going anywhere close to that. So.
It's just we can sort of see bands obviously organising tours and then either rescheduling to next year, and I'm not sure what the impact is or where the problems are, you know.
We had to reschedule a couple shows on our winter run with Clyde. We had a couple of our own headline shows, but between weather and then COVID shut down one of the shows. It's like there's like nothing we can do. It's just weather, COVID. So yeah, some of those being rescheduled. Who knows? You know, hopefully we can pull those off. But with when that gets bumped, it's like you know, absolutely do our best. But
and so final words then. What can we expect from you guys this evening?
Some new stuff. A lot of new stuff. We're a new band, high energy.
Maybe a million beers.
And a good time, you know.
Good time.
And we were throwing some secret surprises too.
Oh, sweet. Okay. Well, look, I'll leave it there, guys. Thanks again very much for your time, and thanks for letting me interrupt your dinner as well.
Oh, good, man.
Once again, Miss Nick Oliveri and Ryan Güt.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers, man.
Thank you very much. Thanks for your time.
See you guys.
Thank you.